Welcome to another episode of Culinary School Stories, the weekly podcast that is dedicated to sharing the stories of people around the globe whose lives have been influenced, impacted, touched, and or enriched, for good or for bad, from their culinary school experience. Hi, my name is Colin Roche, and I'm your host. Thanks for joining us today. You are an important part of this show, where we ask the question, what's your culinary school story? So now, without any further delay, let's meet today's guest. Hello, everyone, and thank you for listening in to another episode of the Culinary School Stories podcast, a proud member of the Food Media Network. My guest today comes to us from the other side of the globe, a talented chef with years of experience. He is currently a culinary instructor at the Symbiosis School of Culinary Arts in Pune, India. And I'll have to get corrections on that to make sure I didn't slaughter it too bad. So without any further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce today's guest, Chef Rizwan Yargatti. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks a lot, Chef. Honored to be here and connect with you. Thanks a lot for getting me over here.
Good. And just to clarify, I hope I didn't do it too bad. Could you just say the name of your school and your name again, just for other listeners, because it's probably my accent?
I think you were quite there. So I don't have much to correct on, but yes, it is Symbiosis School of Culinary Arts. It's in Pune, one of the best institutes that we have, culinary institutes in India. And we are very close to Mumbai, so that might be a little popular and known for y'all. So Mumbai is like 150, 160 kilometers from Pune. And Pune is usually known for its universities and schools, and it's almost called as the Oxford of East. So that's where we belong to.
Ah, great. And I know it's about midnight here in Palm Beach County, Florida, United States. So I think it's about 9:30 in the morning there.
Yes, I just walked into the institute right now. I just got changed into my whites, and yes, it's 9:15 right now over here. We are just getting started, and apologies for getting you out so late in the night.
No problem. Glad we could do this. I'm so excited to have you share your culinary school story with all the listeners. So let's start right out. Tell us, how did you get into food? How did food become your career? What age did this start, and what was your influence?
Actually, to be very honest with you, Chef, food was never on the list. It was an accident. My parents wanted me to become an engineer. But fortunately, I didn't score enough to get into engineering degree, and I landed up into hospitality and bachelor's degree with hospitality management. In those times, there was no culinary arts specialization. So what we had to do was we have to then get into BHMCT, that is Bachelor in Hotel Management and Catering Technology. That I did it from AISSMS. That is All India Shri Shivaji Memorial. I guess it is too much for you to remember that. But yes, it is in Pune itself. It's a very good college, one of the best colleges. They have all four departments of hotel, like kitchen, service, front office, and housekeeping trainings and all. So that was back in 2003. And seriously, I was clueless about where my interest lies in the first year. But by the end of the first year, I knew that kitchen was the place for me, and that excited me. That gave me a lot of creativity and scope to grow. So by end of first year, I think I knew that kitchen was the place to be.
Right. And that was a degree in hotel and catering. Is that what the degree was?
Yes, hotel management and catering technology. That's a 4-year course. Back in those time, that was the only course that we had. And now, if you see, there are many specialized schools. There are courses of travel and tourism. There are courses of catering, obviously culinary arts, where I'm working currently. We have culinary arts, and recently we have started with hospitality management as well.
Great. And how many students do you have at your current school now?
So we have for each year we have a class of 60 students,
Okay.
60 to 70 students, and then we have like 3-year course. So in all, we have like 250 students in college at one given time, and some of the batches then they are out in internship, and then they come back and the other batches go. So just like a regular job. New batch we have started with around 30 students in the new hospitality program. We also have one specialized course, that is diploma in bakery and patisserie arts. That is a short term, very specialized course for people who are very much interested in only bakery. So people who have already made up their mind that bakery is something that they would like to pursue their career in, or pastry is something that fascinates them, then for them we recommend this specialized course so that they don't have to go through the entire program, and if they are interested only in bakery, then it's obviously uh, a little waste of time. Well, I guess knowledge doesn't go waste, but then again, if you're very focused on bakery, then directly jump into that rather than going circles about everything else.
Sure, sure. Now, does your school have a website that's one of the listeners may be interested or maybe passing through that area? They could look up the school and see a little bit more about it?
Yes, Symbiosis has a beautiful website. I would like to talk more about Symbiosis because Symbiosis is one of the great institutes in India. It's got not only culinary degree, but so many other divisions. It's got medical division, it's got engineering division, it's got media and arts as well, sports science as well. So it's a very big institute. It's got so many branches, and not only in Pune, but they are located in Delhi, Hyderabad, Bangalore, and recently they're opening up in Nagpur as well, with law institutes and so many other branches that are there. So it's got a beautiful website. Everyone, I'll probably at the end of this talk, I'll give you the website details and everything, so that if somebody wants to go and explore it, they're happy to do that.
Sure, and I'll put it in the show notes too, so someone else that's listening to this afterwards can just look it up and get information on the school if they want to, look into it. And that would be great. Do you have a restaurant there that the students serve do they serve the food to each other? Do they serve it to the public? How does that work?
Yes, so we've got a chef's diner over here, and we also have a beehive area. Beehive area is just behind me. So I'm sitting in my office right now, and just behind me is the QTK kitchen, that is the quantity training kitchen, where food is cooked in bulk. And just besides that is the beehive area, where it's kind of a student mess where students can come and have their food. So we do it in batches. One batch will cook food for the entire uh, batch of students, and then the other batch who's working on service side in chef's diner will come and have the food over there, and vice versa the next day. So in batches we train them how to cook in bulk for other students as well.
Great, great.
And we've got a beautiful chef's diner where the kids are taught how to do service, a la carte service, banquet service, how to make tea, coffee, and food wine pairing and stuff. And we've got a very talented service instructor as well, who takes care of this part of servicing.
Great. And how has the school changed since you went to school? How have the students changed? Think back when you were in, I know it was hotel school, but think about your classmates and how the generations may have changed, or maybe they haven't, to the current students you have.
Oh, well, that's a very tricky question because I belong to the same generation. I don't belong to your era where things were very different. Yes, so that's like but it has changed a lot. You must have noticed that back in my days, mobile phones and those social sites were not very common.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays you can get in touch with so many chefs so easily. At What I'm saying is, by like 2008 2007, these Facebook and Instagram and all these sites were not that common to get in touch with, and we were not very familiar with what is going around apart from our own lives. But nowadays students are so much focused, they know so many things that are going around. In my times, we hardly knew what a Michelin star restaurant was. But nowadays, when I interview all these great kids who want to become chefs, they already know what a Michelin star is, and they already have plans to reach there.
Wow.
So that I think is what is one of the differentiating factor between uh, those times and right now. They are pretty much well focused. They know what it is, and it shows. That is the reason why there is a demand for such a specialized course like culinary arts. Before it was not there. uh, I think the government and everyone, the institutes have recognized that there is a demand for this. People are much more focused. They just want to get into the whites and start working hard and climb up the ladder rather than going into hospitality management or hotel management when they know that chef is something that they would like to pursue.
Do you think most of them want to open their own place? Are they going to work for, like a hotel or a kitchen or restaurants?
Yes, that is also one of the differentiating factors, chef. At our age, when I was coming into the industry, I don't think standalone restaurants were the place that everyone wanted to be. They wanted to work with obviously the chains, international chains, more than standalone restaurants. But that has changed over a period of time now. Most of the people, they want to work in standalone restaurants, good restaurants, get a hand on all these skills from good chefs, and then probably start their own restaurant and make a mark for themselves. That is also one of the approach that has been changed uh, with times, I guess.
Great, great. Interesting. What is one myth that students seem to bring with them, or maybe you hear in the general public that isn't true? What do you want to debunk? What is the myth they come in with and you say that's not true, or maybe it is?
I think the biggest myth that our industry has is that things are very tough. A lot of politics is there inside the industry, which is somewhat true, but things are changing now. So that is something kind of a fact that has been changing for good now. Things are changing at a faster rate. I see a lot of equal opportunities to give, which has been given to a lot of people, may it be gender or may it be other caste or anything uh, of those discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
Things are going good in terms of giving opportunities and being hard on the new students or new generation and teaching them as well. So that has been a little easier nowadays.
Oh, good.
It was not that easy in the past. If you want to learn something from a good chef, you literally have to slog in and out to get that skill level. But I guess that has been changing for good now. People are quite understanding and open, and everything is quite easier nowadays, I think.
Yeah, when I went to school, it was mostly male, because it was years ago. But now I see in our school, it's 50-50 for culinary with females to male, which is great. We're seeing a lot of female chefs out there. I'm wondering, how is that in your area? Do you see that in India? Is it still male dominated?
No, actually not. If I give you my institute statistics, it is almost 70% females and 30% males.
Wow.
The students I'm talking about, the number of students who come to our colleges, I think 60 to 70% are females, and that has been consistent with all the three batches. I've been here for 2 years now, and I've seen three batches passing out from here, and that is the same for all three batches. More of women in the game now.
Why do you think that is, that more females are attracted to the culinary arts, or they're going to be chefs or go into this industry than males?
I probably think that in India, a lot of females, um, they are very much interested into cooking, and nowadays when they know that this there is a profession kind of a thing for cooking as well, it interests them more. And since I think we spoke about the equality as well, now things are changing. Everyone is treated equally. Matter of fact, they don't even consider the gender nowadays for each and every profession. So even the women are given the equal opportunity, And I think being so close with the Indian household where cooking is considered very important and an everyday part of life. I think these kids who are females, I think they want to grow more in the industry where it was male dominated before, and now it is far equal, and I think more than equal now.
Great, great. Over here we have the like the cable TV Food Network and all the Food Network stars, and we have a lot of, celebrity chefs is what we like to call them over here. And so our students are, sometimes influenced by that. Do you see the same over there? Do you have the celebrity chefs? Do the students really look up to them, or do they want to emulate them?
Well, you're talking to one of them. So as a kid, I was also very fascinated by Chef Gordon Ramsay. At those times in 2007, back 2007, 2008, the only show that was there, which was very much in demand, was Hell's Kitchen.
Oh,
it still is, but nowadays we have so many other, other TV shows as well, or reality shows as well. But at that time, it was Hell's Kitchen all over, and I was very fascinated and very addicted to the show, and that's how it got me fascinated towards cooking food as well.
So he was one of your influences then, huh?
Yes. Eventually, I ended up working under his banner as well. So that came in later, but yes, that is another episode now. So it was quite difficult to get into his restaurant. But yes, I was fortunate enough to be trained under those chefs who were trained by Gordon Ramsay. And then I started working with them and got to learn so much of it. And I think if you see, there is positive and negative in both fascination with celebrity chefs. So there is two parts to the coin.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you take it positively, it will work for you. If you take it negatively, then obviously you'll end up having difficulties in your life.
Yeah. The reality of the kitchen is a little bit rougher when the students find out than what they show on TV.
Yes.
Now you worked for Gordon Ramsay's restaurant. Did you ever get a chance to meet him? Did he ever go over there? Or?
Yes. I was fortunate enough to meet him. He visited us back in those days. And what a great chef, I must tell. He's a great personality. He's a great human being. And he's so kind. He's nothing like the TV projects.
Yeah, that's his persona for the TV, right? They got to get ratings.
Yes.
Great. Did you have a best class when you were going through the kitchens? Did you have a specialty that you were drawn to, that you were like, this is what I love, this is my favorite?
When I was a student?
Yes.
Let me tell you, I was very mediocre at my time. So I really don't have any, wow kind of an, memory about my school times. But yes, I think I enjoyed European practicals a lot. I think Indian practicals was something that we already were very familiar with, because being an Indian, we have seen that food and all. But European practicals were a kind of a memory for us, because that was the first time we got to learn about so many different ingredients and different techniques. French cooking is kind of an art and skill which fascinates you when you look at it. Those were the times that I really remember of when I was a student. And of course, we used to have a lot of food festivals and all. So coming up together, as a team and working towards it, that was also something that is there in my memory, because that was something out of the class activity. So these things stick with you.
And you had told me earlier that, one, you weren't the best student, but also that you were very shy. But now you're not shy. So how did that manifest? How did that change happen when you got into the kitchen?
So I got to blame the industry for that. As you know, that the industry is quite tough, and things are changing now. That's for good. But in my times, I had to learn everything the hard way. And I realized that if you are not running your kitchen, then the kitchen is running you. So you got to be a little extrovert. You got to have a little command over the kitchen and everything. Otherwise, people will take you for granted, and all your hard work will be going down the drain. So that kind of changed me. I'm still an introvert when I'm not in my whites. When I'm not in the kitchen, I'm still quiet. I'm thinking. I'm not talking too much. I'm just observing things. But once I get into kitchen, I'm a beast. So uh, I get into that mode and I'm screaming, shouting, yelling, and I love the environment. Actually, the systematic chaos, as you say, I love that. That gives me the adrenaline to go forward.
Great. And you went on to get a master's degree. What did you get your master's in, and how was that? Was that different from your bachelor's? Were you a better student at that? Did you command that interest?
Oh, I did that as well. I did it from IMI Luzern, which is in Switzerland. That was an MBA program, an intensive specialized MBA program, executive program, which was for 1 year and 6 months of theory part and 6 months of internship as well. So yes, that was it. Don't ask me about the subjects because I don't remember them. I was in Switzerland, so nobody cares about the subjects when you're in Switzerland. I'm just kidding. Beautiful location, beautiful faculty over there, so well informed faculty, and a complete change of educational level that they follow over there. Quite fascinated with that, and so much openness and so much of freedom to talk and question and reason and stuff like that. I really admire the people and the place over there.
So you had this education, then you had this great career. I was looking at your CV, your resume here. You have quite a kitchens that you've worked in. What brought you to teaching? What brought that about that now you decided to become a culinary instructor?
Oh, initially it was just a family decision because I was working in Mumbai. It was a little far from my family, and I've got two beautiful kids and one wife. Yes, they were over here in Pune, and I couldn't spend much of time with them because I was in Mumbai, and I was hoping that I could get a job where I could spend some time with my kids as well. Then I found out that there is a vacancy over here that is connected to kitchen because then teaching with the students is also in kitchen. And I thought, let's try this. And I've been here for 2 years and I'm quite enjoying it. I get the time to do research on recipes and stuff like that, which I never got time when you are in industry. You are just working from morning 8 till God knows, like 9 or 10 in the night, and you're always in a bus which is never stopping.
Right.
And over here, after say certain hours of time, you get some time for yourself, which you can invest in yourself as well. I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm doing my PhD also right now from Symbiosis itself in Indian cuisine. So that is something that is exciting now. And I think I made the right choice. And I also like interacting with all these beautiful students. They come with their own level of knowledge, and you get to learn a lot from them. In fact, I was just discussing that with one of my friend. He was saying that how's teaching different from your regular work when you were in industry. I said, I'm not teaching, I'm learning more over here from these students because they ask so many questions. Sometimes you know the answer, sometimes you don't. When you don't know the answer, you go back and you learn for yourself because then you have to teach them again. So there's a lot of learning that is happening on this side of, I think, the industry.
Yeah, I agree. You learn so much more when you go back to school because the best way to learn something is to teach something. So you have to, study it.
Yes.
And it also does offer that quality of life, that balance, which you don't see in the industry. And can you speak to that? Compare when you were in Mumbai working, I'm sure, crazy hours, and now your work schedule.
Yes, actually, I remember those days, and sometimes I miss them. Because you've been a part of that industry for 10 years where you're going morning 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock if you're having a morning shift. I was the head chef at Mumbai IBIS Airport. So I usually has to go because breakfast is a busy time, and it's a good time to interact with your guest as well, because most of them, they are seen only during the breakfast time. So I used to go, especially in the breakfast, to see all those guests and see the busy operations as well, overlook them, and help my team as well. So from that morning, then the lunch time, and then the dinner time, and it never stops. There's so many challenges, training and learning, and handling guest complaints if there are any. Then managing the whole department in terms of budget, and ordering and purchasing, and meeting the vendors and seeing so many things around the clock. And then suddenly you realize that it is 11 in the night, and still the work is not over.
Yeah.
So that is kind of a life a chef has to go through at some point of their career, and you cannot escape that.
Mm-mm. So now we're in kind of a unprecedented times. I know you just mentioned you were in lockdown and you couldn't even go to your office for the last week, where we were trying to coordinate the schedule for this interview. What do you see the future of culinary school? Where do you see the restaurant industry going now that we've going through this crazy pandemic?
Yes, like you said, crazy is the right word for it, because we don't know what is happening. This is the first time that we all are experiencing something like this. But I am quite sure, I'm like 200% sure that it will get back to normal, the new normal, what we are talking about, because we are socializing animals. There's a reason why we are called a social animal, because we cannot live without socializing. And soon these questions were asked by the new students' parents as well, while we were doing the induction program, that what is the future of this industry? Why do you think we should put our kids into culinary institute or hotel management institute? Because it has gone through such a turmoil right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was quick enough to answer to them that there's a reason why we are called social animals. We cannot keep away ourselves from being socialized. The moment this is over, we'll be back again, tasting new food, meeting people, traveling, and we are just waiting for it. Everyone is just waiting for that, and hope that it ends soon and we are back to enjoying the life that was before. So that's my take about it. It is, I don't know when it is going to happen, but damn sure that it is going to happen. Because right now we are enjoying our life in the lockdown, because we are with our families and everyone, and it is quite new to us. But soon we'll be getting bored with this as well.
Yes. And in restaurants, people always have to eat. Right now, it just seems to be a lot of takeout or takeaway, but eventually they're going to want to go back to those dining rooms, and as soon as it's safe.
Yes, socializing has been a part of our life for so many eras now. Since ancient times, we cannot get rid of it. It is in our system right now that we need to socialize. We need to meet people. We cannot be keeping everything to ourselves in our homes. We need to get out. That is a part of our life, and eventually, then the industry will again pick up from there.
What advice would you give to someone wanting to pursue a career, similar to yours, or contemplating going into culinary school, or, entering into restaurants, culinary world? What advice would you give them if they came to you?
Well, if you ask me for an advice, there was a beautiful video that I just saw from a very young, talented chef from Singapore. She's called like the artist over there. What she does is she paints on walls with all those beautiful sugar work and everything. I don't remember the name of the chef right now, but there's a beautiful line that she said. The secret to success in this industry is to learn and to learn and to refine and to evolve. So you got to learn, keep learning. You got to refine it according to what you think is right, and then you got to evolve from there. So I think that's the best advice, not only for this industry, but for any other industry also you pick. You you have to follow this advice if you want to be successful. And I think only knowledge will not provide you success. I think discipline is also something that you have to look in. Without discipline, knowledge is nothing.
Good point. Who are three people who have been the most influential to you? Could be personal, could be professional, influential, career-wise. They could be past, they could be current, they could be fictional. Three people who are most influential to you.
I guess I'm very religious, so I take it as an advantage for me, because for being religious, you have to be you have to discipline yourself a lot. So I think my religion is something that is of influential to me, to do good and do good for others as well. The second, I think, is my mom. My mom has gone through a lot of hardship, and she gave me the best of education. I'm the only son to her, and still she didn't stop me for purchasing pursuing my dreams, and going out, and learning new things. So I've been to Dubai, I've been to Switzerland for studies, and I've been traveling quite. So she never hold me back. She always wanted me to have the best of education and the best of possibilities that could reach me. So my mom is certainly one of the person who has a great impact on my life. I think professional wise, I think Chef Scott and Chef Nick were the two people who actually molded me. So these were the chefs from Gordon Ramsay restaurant. Chef Scott was the head chef, and Chef Nick was the sous chef. Obviously, they don't work anymore over there, but they have a chain of restaurants in Dubai right now. They kind of impacted my professional life a lot. They taught me everything. Obviously, they put me through hell, but yes, I got out with a lot of learning after going through that hell.
Very good. Lately, I've heard a lot about mentorship. And could you speak to mentorship? And do you have a mentor? And do you have any mentees? Do you have students looking up to you? And how does that relationship kind of start if someone was looking for that?
During my time in India, when I came back from Gordon Ramsay restaurant over here in India, there were quite a number of general managers who kind of mentored me. I was quite new to the entire Indian hospitality industry, so they took me under their wings, and there was Mr. Ridul Deka, who specially looked after me because I was quite young. By the age of 27, I was already a sous chef who was running the entire kitchen operation. There was no head chef above me, so I was looking into the entire thing, and I was quite new. So when you're new, you're very impatient and you want to do everything. And he was kind of like a guarding angel to me. He gave me the right way and put my energy into the right direction. So yes, I had a lot of good mentors in my life, and that's the reason why I have a great amount of experience, I guess, with a short amount of years that I have. So I was blessed in those matter. But yes, when it comes down to being a mentor to students and all, I try my best to be honest with them. And that integrity shows off when you're being honest to them, that they can just peep into you and look that honesty, and look into that and just connect with you. If you don't be honest with them, then obviously it is a teacher and student relationship. But yes, when you're being very open to them and you know their strength and weaknesses and you don't exploit them, that is when the real connection happens. And then after that, you tell them to do any assignment or anything, and they're bang on. They'll never look one step left or right. They'll be spot on with it.
Very good.
We recently had so many projects that we did together. One of the project, I think I have it over here right now. This was one of the book that one of the batch of my students we created. So this is Vismarit book. We created as an assignment. These are the lost recipes of India.
Wow.
Everyone came up with one recipe from their family, which is not very popular nowadays. And then we came up of making this beautiful book and all these pictures and everything. And these are some of the recipes that
Wow, look great.
they came
These
up
are
with.
all their family's recipes, grandma's passed down through the generations?
Yes, exactly. And that's what Vismarit means in Sanskrit language. It means lost recipes or something that is been lost. So this was a compilation of recipes from batch 2018 from Symbiosis School of Culinary Arts, and we did it as an assignment for experiential learning. So we've got experiential learning as one of the things that we need to give.
So now we're just talking about the beautiful book that the students made. Look, while we're on that subject,
Yes.
What books would you recommend? If you had to recommend to students or somebody who's just interested in culinary or someone that wanted to become a chef, do you have any favorites? Do you have anything that you would recommend, one or two? Or, what have you read recently? Can you share a book with us?
Yes, so that is a great actually topic to discuss. Nowadays, nobody is interested in books. In our time or in your time, certainly there were more book reading and stuff like that. If we wanted some information, we used to go to the books actually, or we used to go to the chefs to ask them. But nowadays, you press a button on your computer, and all the information is there. So nobody wants to go to that tiring process of reading the entire book or finding that out from a book, which I really miss. And that was one of the reason why I gave them this great task of making a book, so that when they create a book, they know the process of making a book, how much of it goes to actually compile a book. There's proofreading, there is formatting, there is so much of things, and eventually when you go through the entire process, you tend to have a lot of respect for it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the major thing that went into making this book. And for recommending books, I think I was very much stuck to the modern cookery that we had in our times. So modern cookery and theory of cookery by Thangam Philip. Those were some of the classic books of kitchen that I was very fascinated by, and very clear and very crisp messages as well in those books. So Theory of Cookery was all-time hit for me. Modern Cookery was one of the books that I remember. And a few of the recent books would be Taste of India by Madhur Jaffrey. That is also one book that fascinates me in terms of Indian cuisine. Yes, these are the books that I like.
Mm-hmm. Great, but it's so true. The students don't want to read today. They want to find their phone and Google it, I guess.
I think we need to adapt to that kind of learning now, because the kids won't let.
I do both, but I'm tactile. I want to touch the book. I want to touch the papers. I want to. So let's jump back to that Gordon Ramsay restaurant you worked for. How did you get into that? I mean, I'm sure it was probably pretty popular. There was probably competition. How did you score that spot, that coveted position?
Oh, actually, it's a long story. To cut it short, though, I would start with I was working over here in India at St. Lawn Hotel. It's a beautiful setup with airline catering operations also in it. So I was working over here, and I worked for a year. It was a small setup though. So after a year, I could realize that there was nothing new that I was doing. I was doing all the regular stuff, and I reached a point where saturation took place, and I was like, I need to find some place where I could learn more. And like I said, I was very fascinated by Hell's Kitchen and Gordon Ramsay at those times. So I quickly surfed the net and saw where does he have all these restaurants where I could go and learn. And the closest was in Dubai, where by Gordon Ramsay. It was in Hilton. So that came up to the screen. And I quickly made up my mind that I want to go over there, because I had my brother working in Abu Dhabi. So I quickly rang him up, and I asked him to get me a visiting visa for UAE, so that I can come over there and crack the interview and start working, start learning over there. But trust me, it was not the case. It was not so easy. When I went over there, I the first day when I landed to Abu Dhabi, second day I went to Dubai. So we have to go to Dubai by the bus. We have to catch the bus and go to Dubai. It is like 160 kilometers, like one and a half hour drive as well. So I went over there without knowing anyone, without having an appointment, just a bunch of CVs with me. And then I was over there at the bus stop at Dubai asking people where this hotel is, Hilton Hotel is. And I remember walking on the streets for a couple of miles to get the place over there. And when I reached over there, I went through the staff entrance, and I saw a huge Egyptian guy as a security personnel over there, and he stopped me. He was like, "Do you have an appointment? And what is the purpose of your visit?" I was like, "I want to work over here with by Gordon Ramsay," and he's like, "This is not how you go through the process with the HR team, and you hand me your CV, and if the HR team finds your CV interesting, they give you a call, and then you can come back and give the interview." That never actually happened. So I went there quite number of times. I remember the next day I went, he stopped me again. I waited over there. Somebody came out for smoking from the kitchen. I spoke to them. He said that, okay, what I can do is I can take one more CV of yours and directly give it to the chef. So that happened quite number of times. I waited there. Every day I traveled back to Abu Dhabi. Every day I traveled back to Dubai for the same thing. And I believe after giving over like 11 CVs, I finally got a call from the HR department saying that we would like you to come and meet us and give an interview over there. When I went over there, I saw Chef Scott, and the first thing he asked me, he was the head chef over there. The first thing he asked me that, why are you so much interested when the HR told you there's no vacancy over here? I was like, I know when there is no vacancy, only the executive chef can make some vacancy. I know it sounds a little catchy and filmy, but that's what I said over there. And he was impressed, and he asked me to give a trial. The whole day of prepping, I was there. Somebody told me that you should wait back for service as well, and that will impress Chef Scott. So I went to him and I told him that I want to stay back for the service. He called up the HR and he said make some arrangement for his stay over here in Dubai, because he's from Abu Dhabi, and he needs to stay tonight over here for service, and probably tomorrow he'll go. So I waited for the service as well, and I helped a few sections like garnish and cool starters at that time. And then after the day was over, he called me to his office, and when I went to the office, I was smiling, and he said, "Are you still smiling?" I was like, "Yes, chef." And he was like, "Okay, fine." And after 2 days, then I got a call from the HR department saying that I was selected. It was almost a month that it took for me to, get into the restaurant. So I think that I don't know if I have that commitment and that passion still inside me. But yes, at that time, all that I wanted was to learn something from the best chefs.
Wow, the tenacity, the follow through, the resourcefulness. I mean, you were there. You were finding those chefs, kind of bypassing HR to get the resumes or the CVs up to the chefs, and that was.
Yes, nowadays it is. Nowadays it is so easy. You go through Instagram, you go through all the profiles of the chef, and you drop a message to them, saying that you want to be an intern. It is quite easy now, but at those times it was quite difficult. Mm-hmm. The connectivity was not there unless and until you meet a person in person, actually. So
yeah, so that's good yes. For you. Kudos to you. You deserve the job.
Thank you.
So as we come to the end of our chat today, and before we wrap up, is there any last-minute advice or guidance that you want to leave with the listeners? Something that you want to share?
I think, Chef, I've already spoken about being disciplined in this industry. So I'm going to stress on that as my last advice. And be open, because this industry branches into so many different things. For the matter of fact, if you want to become a baker, and when you go in the industry and something excites you in hot kitchen, don't be afraid. Try that as well, because you never know that you end up being in hot kitchen rather than bakery, or vice versa as well. So you got to be open in your perspective of living the life, and also be disciplined at the same time. So I think I'll leave it to that.
Great. Well, that is just about all the time we have for this episode, and I want to first thank you, Rizwan, for coming on the show today and sharing your culinary school story with all of us. We really appreciate your time, your insight, and your honesty.
Oh, pleasure is all mine, Chef. Good to connect with you from other part of the world, actually. So, yeah, that's been great, and learn from you as well. The entire process is quite new for me, but I'm glad that we spoke and we share and we connected, because we come from the same background of being chefs. So a lot of things are very similar to us over here as well. So thanks a lot for the opportunity, and I wish you all the best for your podcast, the listeners as well.
Yeah, thank you. And, even though there's miles and miles, we're very similar, because food is food, and we're all culinarians. We're chefs in the kitchen. So it's, as you mentioned, it's very similar. We're of the same, thought process.
Definitely, Chef.
Well, thanks again. I enjoyed our chat. Bye-bye now.
You take care, Chef. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot.
And a big thanks and appreciation also goes out to all of you, the listeners. We hope you enjoy the show and this episode. You all are a big part of this show, so please let us know what you think. Your comments are always welcome, and they help us in making the best show possible. You can email them to culinaryschoolstories@gmail.com. That's culinaryschoolstories@gmail.com, or even leave us a voicemail at area code 207-835-1275. That's area code 207-835-1275. And if you like the show, we have a big ask of all of you, and that is to share the podcast with everyone you know, and to give us a positive rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Okay, until our next Culinary School Story, take care and be well. Bye-bye. Culinary School Stories is a proud member of the Food Media Network.